In this video, I will show how to make moonshine from apricots with sugar. Last time I explained how to make moonshine without sugar, and today I will try to make it with sugar in order to increase the amount of the final product. I have a quantity of apricots that have fallen from the tree and are well ripened. They are already being eaten by bees, which means they have enough sugar. Now, it is necessary to make moonshine from them. First, it is necessary to remove the pits from them, because the pits give bitterness to the product. And during prolonged fermentation, the moonshine will not be very tasty. The pits in this apricot separate easily, without any problems, but there are varieties where it can be problematic, so you may not need to remove them there. In the end, from the bucket of pulp, I ended up with half a bucket of pits. This is excess volume, so it's better to remove them. Ultimately, I ended up with 5 buckets. Here is the apricot flesh without the pits. There is no need to wash them, because I will be making moonshine with natural wild yeast. I have a large 200-liter plastic barrel that we will use to make mash from apricots. We pour the prepared apricot puree into this barrel. Using a drill and a whisk for mixing construction materials, we create a uniform paste from the apricot. This will be like a puree. In the end, we have a uniform apricot puree. After that, we will prepare the sugar syrup. For this, we will take 5 liters of warm water, 1 kilogram of sugar for every 10 liters of apricot puree, and mix it well. And we pour the resulting syrup into the apricot puree. I added the apricot puree and syrup in the same proportions and mix everything well. It is necessary to pour not all the way to the top of the container, but about a quarter lower, because there will be foam that will rise and overflow the mash. Now we mix everything well using a clean stick. Bubbles of carbon dioxide began to appear immediately. This shows that the great yeast has started to work and is processing sugar and alcohol. After that, we tightly seal the container with a film and tie it with a rope to prevent any spikes.
Here, right now, at this very moment, right here.
Everything is tightly tied up, and we will set it to ferment for about 3 weeks because of the rural yeast. If you are short on time, you can add alcoholic yeast or dry yeast here, at a rate of 100 grams per 1 core. After a long and productive day of fermentation, we will carefully open the film and see how things are progressing in detail. As you can see, the fermentation is no longer as intense. There was foam here. Now it has settled a bit. I will stir the cap once a day to prevent it from souring. And we place it to the very bottom, because a tasty formation often occurs in the cap. We do not need that. The aroma you are experiencing is that of apricot, which is sweet and fruity, rather than being sour or tangy. Now that the cap is stirred, you can cover it with film again to prevent air from reaching the sides. It may not be very airtight, but the carbon dioxide released from the mash prevents oxygen from entering because it is heavy.
30 days have now completely elapsed, and the mash has now completely fermented. The bubbles have now completely stopped forming. A transparent liquid has appeared on top. which indicates the separation process has begun. Now, it is necessary to carefully separate the pulp from the juice to prevent it from burning during the next steps. Here, the remnants are slowly flowing out, ensuring a smooth process.
Pure borage. We try not to extract too much. We only discard the dry residue. In order to make it easier to extract juice from the pomace, I used a rope, tied a cheesecloth to it, and placed a bucket at the very bottom. I have no time constraints, so I will wait until the juice from the borage stops dripping from this bag. I will be making moonshine from apricots using this kind of moonshine still. It is a bit primitive. There is a glass laboratory distiller, a dry separator in the form of a liter jar, and a heating element, a boiler resembling milk concrete. At the top part of the concrete, I made a frame that tightly presses the lid with bolts. And there is no need to seal it with dough or other sealants. It's very convenient. Let's wait until the heads start to drip. Here comes the first moonshine. I will set aside approximately 10% of the total amount for borage, and I will take the remaining rest. The heads have a pronounced acetone smell, and it is undesirable to drink them. They are only suitable for rubbing. The distillation of the borage from apricots is almost complete. During the first distillation, I do not separate anything, neither the heads nor the tails, but collect everything in a separate container until it reaches 30 degrees. Moonshine. Now let's check what the average concentration of the moonshine is. Now let's check what the average strength of the moonshine is. Now I will check the strength using the alcohol meter. At the moment, the average strength is 65 degrees. We will continue to collect more. The moonshine after the first distillation has an overall strength of... Now we will dilute it to 20 degrees and perform the second distillation. I dilute it with regular tap water. Cold. Here, the moonshine is diluted to 20 degrees and can be distilled a second time. The distillation process is complete. I have already collected a small amount of heads, a bit more, about 5%. It has an unpleasant taste and smell. Now we take the main part of the moonshine. Approximately to 45 degrees strength, and then we will take the tails, but we will collect them separately for the next distillation. In the end, such moonshine was produced. Now it needs to be diluted. Let's check how many degrees we have after the second distillation. As you can see, it turned out to be 75 degrees in strength. We will dilute it to 45 to make it smoother. To dilute, I use purified bottled water, pour water into a bucket, then into the moonshine to avoid a violent reaction, and flakes that precipitate. I pour by eye, then it will be easy to adjust. When diluting the moonshine, air bubbles appear, and now they will come out, and it will become transparent. Then we will check the degree. It is clear that the strength of the moonshine has become 45 degrees. This is what we need. We will not filter the moonshine to preserve the pleasant apricot scent and aftertaste. Here you can see that the moonshine is completely transparent, has a slightly bluish, pleasant color, and the apricot moonshine is quite suitable for drinking.